Hi everyone, this is Fahad Mirza and I welcome you to the channel. In this video, I am going to show you a hands-on implementation of this project MCP from Anthropic. I have been following this project for the last couple of months. From the onset, I believe that this project holds quite a lot of promise because what it is trying to solve is a real world issue. Now, that's all good, but the problem is that all of these months, this project hasn't really gone anywhere when it comes to production implementation. But the project holds such a promise that I have decided to cover it in this video, especially because Phil Schmidt, another person, has done an implementation of this project, which I will be showing you and sharing you in video description, the link of it too. So first, let's try to understand what exactly this Model Context Protocol or MCP is. It has been created by Anthropic and they have launched a sort of consortium where a lot of other companies are also endorsing it, and they also are planning to do more implementations on top of it. So what exactly this project is? In very simple words, just consider this project or framework or tool as a USB port. USB port is a standard port in your system where you can install or access any data you like which is compatible with that USB. This project allows you to integrate your model to different data sources. Those data sources could be a database, it could be a text file, it could be an API endpoint, or it could be anything. As long as it is accessible and compatible, it should work with your large language models. Now, why I think it holds such a promise? If you have built any agentic application, which simply means that where users give a natural language prompt or question, the large language model converts that prompt into a function call, and then your application makes that function call to access any external data source. You might be aware of the pain where you have to hard code a lot of things, or you have to make sure that LLM is calling the appropriate function call, especially when there is a lot of similarity. And that is where this model context protocol is trying to help in order to standardize how applications are providing context to LLMs so that AI models should be able to access different data sources and tools easily without getting or without stepping on toes of each other. So what exactly it looks like? If you look at this diagram, this gives you a simple architecture of this MCP. It works on the principle of client server architecture, where on the left hand side you have MCP client. It could be your LLM, Anthropic Claude, or it could be your VS Code, any other tool calling. In order to access the data source, when your LLM converts your natural language prompt to function call, MCP protocol accesses the relevant MCP server, and that server primarily holds the data source. As I said, it could be any data source, it could be database, text file, or it could be API endpoint. So now the problem here is that this looks all good and simple, but I'll be honest, the implementation which Anthropic has done is really terrible. If you have to create a MCP server, it's not that easy. Even if you have to go with MCP client, it's not that easy. So I'm hoping that they will improve it further. Now, in the last 2 to 3 months since this has been launched, this hasn't really gone anywhere. So I'm hoping that someone is going to do a proper implementation which will make this project production ready. In this video, I'm going to show you one attempt which is still not production ready, but it is quite a good attempt which at least shows you that how this MCP work. When we say MCP host here on the left hand side, this could be, as I said, it could be Claude, desktop, or VS Code, or any AI tool that want to access data through MCP. And then MCP client is basically this is a one-on-one connection with your server, and the server is which holds your data, and then remote services could be web API or anything else. Anyway, so now we understand the architecture. There are three main concepts to this MCP which we already have touched upon. It could be any tool which you use. It could be web search, it could be your other custom API or anything. Resources are which are accessed externally, and the prompt is which user provides. Now we know what that is. In order to show you the hands-on demo, I am going to go with this Phil Schmidt's repo, where he has done a couple of implementation of it, and I believe it has also used a lot of code from Anthropic's documentation, which provides the documentation around Python SDK, TypeScript SDK, Kotlin, but still very hard to read, and especially the Anthropic's documentation, I mean, and hard to implement. That is why this application at least attempts to show you basic nitty gritty. But as I said, don't implement it in the production. It is not production ready, neither the Anthropic's MCP protocol, but hopefully in the future it will be easier, and when it does, I think that is going to be a blast. So let's try to get it installed, and I will also share the link to this GitHub repo in video's description. Now, before I move forward, let me give a huge shout out to our good friends at AgentBot who are sponsoring this video. AgentBot lets you effortlessly deploy a personalized knowledge bot across platforms like Discord, Slack, and others. It is ideal for open source tech communities and startups that provide user support, and I will drop the link to their website in video's description. So this is where I am running my Ubuntu system. First step, as usual, let's try to create a virtual environment. I'm going to use Conda. So let's wait for it to get created. Next up, let's git clone the repo. And that is when we have cd'd into it. And then we need to install all the requirements. From the root of the repo, the command is simple pip install. It is going to take few seconds. Now with this tool, you can either use Anthropic's model, you can use Google's Gemini models, or you can use any other model. But for this one, I'm going to use Hugging Face model. And I couldn't see any option of using it with local Olama model, but I don't see that that would be hard once this project really shines through, because it is just OpenAI's compatible APIs. Now, in order to use Hugging Face, you would need to log into Hugging Face, and for that you would need this token which you can obtain from huggingface.co website after logging in, and that is a free token. So let me paste my token here. Let me quickly do that and press Y, and I am logged in. Now let me quickly clear the screen. So before I run it, let me first quickly show you the code. So I'm just opening it in my VS Code editor, and then we will see what is happening here. I'll just say yep, trust. And this is how the code looks like. You see that Phil Schmidt has provided two scripts. One is for Llama, one is for Gemini. I'm going to go with Llama 1. And this is a Llama 3.370 billion, which is a hosted model at Hugging Face. And then all it is doing, it is specifying the system prompt. And if you remember, I mentioned that there are three main components of this MCP: tools, resources, and prompt. So if you go back to this VS Code, this is where the prompt is, then they have the tool, and then some simple Python is being used to instantiate the client with this class with different functions as where the client is. And this code is readily available not only from here but also from Python SDK of Anthropic. And then this is where the tool is being called, and then agent runs in a loop taking the instructions from the user and then giving the response back after doing the tool call here. And then this is the main function where everything is being called. For the local memory, it is using the SQLite, which stays on your local system, which is quite good, and it I believe it runs in the Docker. So make sure that you also have Docker installed. I already have the Docker's recent version installed, and that is all there is to it. Now if you look at this code, this is where I have real problem. I think this is too complex to implement and too hard to implement. It should be easier to implement like this. There are a lot of things which I believe could be improved in this code, and also especially the server side of things too. Anyway, so let me take you back to my terminal. Let's clear the screen, and now let's run this code. And in order to run the code, all you need to do is to run this command with the Python. And you see the first time we run it, it downloads that SQLite and stuff. And then it asks us to enter our prompt, and then we can start talking with it. So for example, you can ask it what tables are available in the SQLite database base, and then it is going to return us. I got this error out that my pro subscription has expired. So this is another problem, that you would have to have a paid account with Hugging Face in order to use this, which is a bummer. And I'm not going to spend that much on the Hugging Face subscription. I already have a lot of other subscriptions. But anyway, this is what I was referring to, that if you really want to have an open framework, open standard, it should work with local models or with free models easily, instead for us to do the paid account. Now, this is one problem with this. Also, they have a Google Gemini one, but I believe that there are a lot of bugs even in that repo for when you start working with the Google one. Let me also show you that quickly. Let me press Control C and let me run the Google one. Let me clear the screen. Now, before you run that Google's command, which is this, the Gemini MCP, make sure that you have set your Google's API key, which you can also obtain from Google's website. I have a paid account there, so I already have set my key. But the problem is when you run it, it gives you this error. So it's a error in the bug in the code, which is a bummer, I believe. But anyway, I hope that this get fixed soon, and we will also have some option of running it with Olama or any other similar free local tool, just to play around with this MCP for the basic examples. I understand that these agentic software work best with the big huge model, the hosted ones, but still I believe for learning and playing around, we should have some option to do it locally. Anyway, not a bad effort, I would say, but still a lot of things can be improved here, not only in this repo, but also especially I think the onus lies with Anthropic to make it production worthy, to make it really workable, instead of just yet another acronyms and frameworks. Anyway, I really wish that this would be implemented, because I believe it holds a lot of promise. Let me know what do you think about this. If you're already using it somehow, very keen to your thoughts on it. If you like the content, please consider subscribing to the channel. If you're already subscribed, please share it among your network, as it helps a lot. Thank you for watching.